وعلى آله وأصحابه وأزواجه وذرياته أجمعين أما بعد فأعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم إنما يعمر مساجد الله من آمن بالله واليوم الآخر ولم يخش إلا الله فعسى أولئك أن يكونوا من المهتدين صدق الله مولانا العظيم وبلغنا رسوله النبي الكريم ونحن على ذلك لمن الشاهدين والشاكرين والحمد لله رب العالمين. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. When the Muslims conquered Makkah, the pagans, the mushrikeen of Makkah, who used to look after the Masjid Haram, claimed, we are the custodians of this place, we are the caretakers, and we will keep on doing it. But Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in Surah At-Tawbah, in this verse, says, no, just wait a minute. How could the mushrik, how could the idol worshipper, how could the worshipper of stones and statues maintain the house of the one Lord, of the mighty creator, of Ar-Rahman? No, we don't need you. Off you go, retire. However, some of them, of course, did become Muslims, mashallah. But this was revealed to stress the importance of Allah's house and of the mutawalleen, the maintainers, the caretakers of this amazing place. But before we go into looking at this verse, let's just sort of try to understand what is the masjid. Masjid al-Haram in Makkah Sharif was built by Sayyidina Ibrahim Khalilullah, and once he had done this task, he is the one who laid the foundations. Okay, this is going to be the place dedicated to the worship of Allah. Now, Allah can be worshipped anywhere. He doesn't need a place, He doesn't need a direction, He doesn't need a time of worship. All these things are actually for our benefit, for maintaining discipline, and for maintaining some kind of civil way of conducting it in group. And that's really important, This idea of religion is there to bring people together and to create what we can call a communal living. And one of the problems with modern society is this lack of communal living. It is now losing that. Families are being broken, and the society is almost broken, It's a very sad scenario, really, when you look out what's happening out there. And one of the reasons is, many great neuroscientists, psychologists, specialists in sociology, big professors have actually written books now on this and are lamenting it, okay? That what has gone wrong is we have lost those traditional values of living together as a society, people sharing values. Now that we we are all selfies. We have our own selves, okay? We can brush up ourselves and make ourselves look so handsome, like the best celebrity and the heroes of this world, And we get distracted, we get deceived, by these fake images that we create. There is so much fakeness all around us, okay? So we are losing that. And the masjid is one of the hubs of a society. It has been. And this is why, if you go to Muslim countries, and even in Pakistan and Bangladesh, at the corner of almost every street, you have a little nikki ji masjid, do eat in masjid, the 10 people, 15 people can stand in it. That's okay. The whole point is that that group and that street can get together at least. Okay, so the masjid plays a very significant role in the preservation of deen. In UK, what has happened is the church, over the last, I've seen it decline over the last 40 years, rapidly, okay? You know, at such a high rate, the decline has been that this is one of the contributing reasons for the decline of Christianity and therefore of religion in this part of the world. It's been devastating for them, absolutely devastating. And we Muslims have to guard ourselves against that. And the only great bastion and the great fortress for that is the masjid. This is the fortress that will, and the tower from which, you know, we can make that azan, and through that azan awaken people's conscience. Okay, that is how important the masjid is. It is so important, you know, that Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam in one hadith he says that إِذَا رَأَيْتُمُ الرَّجُلَ يَعْتَادُ الْمَسَاجِدِ فَاشْهَدْ لَهُ بِالْإِيمَانِ. When you see somebody coming and going to the masjid, bear witness that he's a true believer. He's a? MashaAllah. Okay, there you are. What a great testimony. I hope, you know, many of us are now Sunday worship. Oh, sorry, I mean Friday worshippers. Do you see the similarities there? You know, the Christians, at one time, you know, the Christians used to come 3 times in the church. 3 times a day. Yes? Then, you know, they became very busy, you know, the Industrial Revolution and industrialization, and everybody got busy, everybody got jobs. Oh, koi nahi jaya na, 2 dafa jaya karo, once during the week and 1 jaya na Sunday. And over the last century or so, and we Muslims have made a very sharp jaya, no? We run to 1 day a week, and even that, you know, Christians come, you know, they come for about 2 hours. Hour and a half to 2 hours is their service. Kitni? साढ़े 20 मिनट हो रहे इसके आने तो वो भी डन पाने जाए डॉक्टर साहब बहुत लंबा कर सकते हो ना 20 मिनट लाई तो सब तंग करने हो Allah hidayat de. I hope you can see something has gone desperately wrong. Hard-hearted, dark heart. Say you are living in, I don't know which kind of world you're living in, Jana. But if you want to preserve your deen and you want to understand, this is the opportunity when you should come early. You know, some of the Arab mosques I've been to, mashallah, they come early. Sit and read Quran here. They make it a habit. Okay, I will come half an hour before the Imam comes. But Sara, adha ghanta baad Imam sal khatam kari rasi na. Oh, express Arabi na khutbah suni do takra maar samjha na. Auz billah, that is what it becomes. Do takra then. Seriously, if you just come last moment, that is do takra jaya na. Do takra maar chala jasa. Auz billah. This is no joke, and I'm not apologizing for it either. You have to learn, you know, the deen is there to strengthen you. Look at what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says about the masjid, no? So after clarifying that point to the Makkans that you have no right to this masjid, this masjid is for a particular group of people with a particular kind of mindset, attitude and set of behaviors, and that is innama ya'muru masajid Allahi man amana billahi wal yawmil akhir. It is not right that the idolaters, you know, should maintain the masajid. I just use the word maintain, but amara ya'muru actually means to buy the plot of land for the masjid, to build the masjid there, and then to keep it in a good state, dignified state, so that, you know, it's painted, it's well carpeted, it's decorated, and it's comfortable for the devotees. And then, of course, visiting it. Amara ya'muru imara. Imaratul masjid isn't just building it. Banai chori deo. You know, the Christians have built those churches now. Some of them are, this one is more than 100 years old. That isn't the point. It is about visiting them. So that is why the ulama have, when they define what imaratul masjid is, imaratul masjid, they say, is also to visit it. Okay. However, I can't put all those words in my, but I have put them in the footnotes, what that is. So Allah, the mushriks, innama ya'muru masajid Allah, the people who can really maintain the houses of Allah are who? You know, this is the next one. The Masjid of Allah shall be maintained by people who believe in Allah. What do? They are true believers. They're not idolaters. They're not materialists. They are true believers. Now, many of us, you know, really think that La ilaha illallah Muhammadur Rasulullah is enough. Yes, of course. But as soon as you say that, you have taken on huge responsibility. It entails a lot of important responsibilities, you know. It isn't just a word, it isn't just witnessing that. It is actually making a promise and a pledge that I will carry out all those amazing behaviors of Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, following his sunnah. So, and what are they? They believe, they perform the prayer, they give the zakat, and they walam yakhsha illallah. They fear none but Allah. They are fearless people. Okay, so the Quran here just mentions 4 of their qualities, but they're very comprehensive. First one is people of faith. You know, and faith is to believe in the Almighty Lord, the controller, the sustainer, the creator. And alimul ghaybi wa shahada, subhanallahi wa ta'ala amma yushrikun. That Lord who is, you know, amazingly exalted, lofty, sovereign, the real power. Okay, and many of us need to really re-examine and look at that and begin to truly understand how mighty Allah is. And what book will tell you how mighty and great Allah is? The Quran. But you've got to read it with meanings, you know, if you really want to. And there is no book that portrays the greatness of Allah, the sovereignty of Allah, the amazing creativity of Allah other than the Quran. But you've got to read it, my dear brothers, and when you do that, you will just say it's awesome. It really is awesome, but you have to read it with meanings. Yeah, no? So that's the faith. And then they pray. The Prophet the Quran says they are people who are prayerful, worshipful, devout people. Yeah, no? And they are also charitable people, people willing to spend their hard-earned money for the sake of Allah. And then final quality mentioned here is walam yakhsha illallah. They are fearless. That is another great quality, you know, people of courage. It's only people who are fearless that can speak the truth, that can bring about changes, that can bring about innovation, that can do inventions, that can actually stand up against injustice and the barbaric people. You know? Only people who have that, and that is so crucial, you know, as we are seeing today. You know, you'll be wondering what is happening to the 57 Muslim countries, okay, who cannot speak a word for our Palestinian brothers and sisters. Yeah, no? That is because they are not, will you put them under this category of walam yakhsha illallah? Are they fearful of Allah? Do they fear, none, you know what it says? Walam yakhsha illallah. They don't fear anyone except Allah. They only fear Allah. Who do they fear? I don't want you to give names here, no, it's dangerous names. Don't tell us which prime minister and which president they fear, okay? Even big guys, eh? You would have thought Erdogan is a very big guy, yeah, no? And Sisi would be a big guy, and MBS would be a big guy, and those people in, Pakistan ne atom bomb ne jo control karne wale bade guys honge. Lekin, yeah, I hope you've seen kitne bade ve jaye, no? Walam yakhsha illallah fa'asa ulaika an yakunu min al-muhtadin. Allah gives good news for these people who maintain the masajid, who look after Allah's houses, who maintain them. What does Allah say? They are the guided ones. These are the guided ones. So my dear brothers, the aim of this khutbah was to motivate and encourage all of you to think very seriously how much time you spend in the house of Allah, in this fortress, fortress, fortress is that which protects you from the shaitan. The shaitan, and of course the society and the people. And what the society is inviting you to. Okay? And in another hadith, Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam says, Man ghada ila al-masajid aw raha a'adda Allahu lahu jannah. Anyone who goes to the masjid in the morning or evening time, Allah has prepared for them paradise. Okay, so in other words, this is what is really saying is taking those steps towards the house of Allah. Every step that you take, what about it? Well, there's a hadith of Sayyidina Abu Hurairah. He narrates that the Prophet said, Bashirul Masha'in. Give good news to the walkers. Give good news to the
walkers.
Driver ki koi nahi jaya na. Is that right? Mushraq? Oh, 10 मील आए हैं इसके आने तो उनको नहीं no, you're counted in it, yeah, don't worry. But here, what does he say? He says Bashirul Masha'in, give good news to the walkers. Okay, so I hope people will take up walking to the masjid. Of course, walking in the countryside is also good, and I'm sure they would be in that tahsil. So I know you go to countryside walks, yeah, no? So it would be a good news for those who also go in the countryside. Why? I hope, when you see the awesome horizon, when you see those chirping birds in those Oakmoor woods, in Australia, that would put awe in your head and fear of God and appreciation of my Lord is so mighty. What am I? One of the beauties of going out in the nature and seeing is, how big it is. You can see as far as Derby. And then you see yourself, what are you? You see the mighty sky and you say, wow, how big it is. Whereas, in your little dingy rooms, 9 by 8, you feel Badshah, and then you feel very big. Look, but when you go out in the nature, you can see, and that is why people who go out there will begin to develop this humility, this sense that I am not arrogant, I am not big, I am a little creature of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So here Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam is giving good news to those who walk to the masjid. Bashirul Masha'ina fi zulmi ila al-masajid. Those who walk to the masjid in the darkness, okay? Give them the good news of bin nur at-tam. Give them the good news of a light that they will have yawm al-qiyamah. Okay? So if you want the light on the day of judgment, that will be the only way that will take you to paradise. That is, come to the masjid, and then, in another hadith, Abu Hurairah narrates, the messenger said, Man tatahhara fi baytihi thumma mada ila baytin min buyutillahi ta'ala liyaqdiya faridatan min fara'id kanat khutuwatuhu ahaduha tahuttu khatiyatan wal ukhra tarfa'u daraja. Abu Hurairah says, the Messenger sallallahu alaihi wasallam said that anybody who does wuzu at home and then he walks to the masjid, and for every step he takes, his sin is forgiven. And for the other step, his daraja is raised. Now this is really interesting, one step, your sin is forgiven. The other, tarfa'u daraja, your station is raised. I don't know how you can translate this, but it's many ways of looking at this raising of your daraja. Daraja, okay? Rising, you rising. Okay? Allah is there, and you are rising. Meaning you get the nearness of Allah, the proximity of qurb of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. You please Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, okay, by taking those steps. The point was, we are very fortunate. We have an amazing place of worship. I really invite you, don't look at me, Jana, or don't look at Qari Abdul Haike. We're a bit of nutters, Jana. We're not very good in serving you and fulfilling and pampering your egos. Don't look at that, Jana. You should come to the Lord of this house, to the King of this house, the one whose house it is. Don't look at us, okay? Don't look at other people either. Look at the one to whom it belongs. That is the intention you should take as when you leave the house. I am going to Baytullah. Where are you going?
Baytullah.
The house of Allah. So may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala help us to appreciate and value. What a great, many of you I know, many people I know are perhaps being sad, distressed, distraught. in their homes and depressed. Oh, paglo, acho. Seriously, yes, come here. This is your hospital. Yes, this is the surgery. This is, some ulama have said that the house of Allah is like the magnifying glass. Like the? What does the magnifying glass do? All these rays of sun, what does it do? It focuses them on a pinpoint, on a little, and what happens? It just goes up in flames. And they say that the house of Allah, Allah's rahmah is everywhere. But here, it's concentrated. You get something extra. But then, turn your hearts, soften your hearts. Read this verse there, and please read this whole section actually. I just took 2 verses. Read this whole section about, the houses of Allah, how amazing they are. What an amazing place it is. The fortress. A fortress that will protect you, really. Protect you from the attacks of the shaitan, the attacks of this society and the evils that are so abundant all around us. May Allah give us the understanding of valuing this house of Allah. Wa akhiru da'wana anil hamdulillah.